I've had the privilege to present to this community the last 2 years, and this year being a Latina woman empowerment event, I feel compelled that we need to have the ladies that are influential in this industry to talk about it. What we're going to talk about today is the subject matter commonly known as Bitcoin. And that seems to be the lead with which most people get engaged in this conversation. And recognize that Bitcoin is just a juvenile. It's an adolescent. This is technology on a white paper that was written in 2009, 13 years ago, 12 years ago. And so all of us, even those of us that have been in the beginning, we're still teenagers in this industry. And so I implore you and empower you, as the subject of this conference is today, to learn and embrace what we're going to talk about today. We're talking about the technology of the internet. We know is the World Wide Web, and the evolution of that technology from where it was just a right use product. It was designed for universities and educators to collaborate on different projects. And then we as consumers got involved in it as it became a read and write technology. Today you hear the term commonly discussed about Web3. And what we're talking about in Web3 is basically decentralizing the control. How to put this back in your hands as a consumer where you don't have somebody that's going to be dictating what you're going to do. And those of us that are involved in social media, you're on Facebook, and we've heard the term metaverse or meta. And today, it's really my privilege to introduce to you these three amazing women. And I'm going to start, I want to introduce Adrienne Ashley. Because, ladies, gentlemen, those of you sitting in the Rio Grande Valley, you are going to experience some phenomenal information from brilliant people. And this is literally a coast-to-coast conference. Because Adrienne Ashley is coming to us today from Miami, Florida, or she could be anywhere in the world with today's modern technology as a digital nomad. Adrienne is a social influencer. She is the master at the art of science of going viral. And that's what we all want to do, is go viral. She's a leader of a lot of difficult subjects in public. And when you talk about certain subjects in public, you have to be mindful of how disturbing that might be. Subjects like sex education, blockchain, and the whole Me Too epidemic. And as women, to understand the whole Me Too concept, she's a noted author, award-winning producer in the arts and film. She's a moderator at major conferences around the world. She's a high-tech priestess, and she's a big data geek. So I want you to pay attention to what Adrienne Ashley is going to have to share with us today. Additionally, we have coming all the way on the West Coast, the opposite side of the continent, from Beverly Hills, California, is Natalia Sokolova. Beverly Hills, California, Swiss-based single-family office investor, focuses on early-stage technology, the Web3, what we're talking about today, decentralized finance, blockchain. She's the managing partner at SGG World, a family office. She has a show herself as well, the Sokolova, the crypto show, and some very interesting notes, I have to say. You know, this lady is absolutely brilliant. 16 years old, she received an award to go to the University of Maryland from Russia. Graduated magna cum laude, international business, finance, single mother, and she is running an entire portfolio in the industry, as we know, as Web3. And you're going to learn an amazing amount of information. And as intelligent as she is, she's had an entire career in the professional modeling industry, including Playboy. She was voted in 2000 as the most beautiful woman. I mean, that's pretty amazing, Natalia.
Thank you. And thank you.
And then right here in Houston, Texas, is my own daughter, Sarah Weisfeld. Sarah got involved in the crypto industry as a result of my involvement in 2014. She's proven herself as an investor and then to get involved in the industry with the Transform Group, which is noted as the world leader in the crypto training and educational events market since 2013. They started, Mr. Michael Turpin, her boss, and she has recently been advanced to be the president of Layer 1 Events, about building communities and education and training. And that's what we all have to know. We are in a $1 trillion industry. I spoke to this audience several years ago when Bitcoin was trading. Some of my friends in the community at the Rio Grande Valley Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, I suggested maybe buy some Bitcoin at 800, maybe buy it at 1,000. In March of 2020 at $3,000. The one thing we have to know is the technology is not going to go away. It's going to go to other people. So congratulations for being in the audience today, to be here today, to learn from these amazing women. And Naomi, I'm going to turn it over to you for you to moderate this conversation with these three dynamic professionals. Thank you for the privilege to introduce them.
We appreciate that, and we look forward to hopefully talking with this group again. But from the bottom of my heart, we appreciate the time that you're going to be with us today. I know it's brief. We have about 18 minutes, ladies, and I know there's so much to talk about. So first of all, I just want you to talk a little bit about who you are, what's your field of expertise. Tell us, the top 3 things that are going on in your area, and I'm going to start with Adrian Ashley, I'm sorry.
Hi, thank you so much. I am so excited to be here with all of you. This is one of my first virtual appearances. It's kind of cool. So you get a hybrid, all of you there, you get to eat and mix and mingle and party with everybody. That's awesome. So I am Adrian Ashley. I am the #1 woman in blockchain influencer in the world that's by data, not by popularity, just how influential and how engaging and how viral. I focus primarily on building. So I had a naughty dating app for good girls that gets women laid by putting consent on the blockchain, because we need safety, security, and certainty to say yes, even to dinner. And that was very helpful to kind of put a pin in the Me Too epidemic, right? You either have consent or you don't. There we go.
There's a lot of right line. I just want to let you know.
Yeah. Seriously, here's a bright line. You have it, you don't have it. But now you know, right? No more he said, she said. So I've always been in the industry to build solutions, right? To architect solutions. So that's what I generally do now. And what's coming up? Everything is going blockchain. Everything will be blockchain. When you get in, it's dependent on you, not if, because it's going to be a when. So you just have to determine how steep you like your learning curve.
So Adrian, can you just explain a little bit what is blockchain? I know Sheldon touched on it, but could you explain just a little bit?
Yes.
Kind of in layman's terms.
In layman's terms, can I swear?
I think so, but very quietly.
It's very simple. It's in context. It's an unfuckwithable ledger of what actually happened. That is all blockchain is. They say immutable. People go, what's that? Unfuckwithable. You all know what that means. It means once it's on there, it's not going anywhere. You can't hack it. You can't change it. Well, you could with a 51% attack, but nobody's doing that. It's not going to happen. So what it gives us is certainty. And what it allows us to do, let's imagine you have to pay $20 million because you're a public company to get the accounting done at the end of every year because of Sarbanes-Oxley. You, with the CEO, have to sign this report that says, this is our financials and I verify it. What if you could just put in API hooks and at the end of the year, you press a button, there's your report, and you go, oh, that's actually wrong. You go back, you fix it. It's notated that it's fixed. But every single transaction, everything that everybody did, it's just there on the ledger. If somebody's stealing money, you absolutely know they're stealing money. Why? Because it's right there on the blockchain. It solves so many problems.
Technology.
It's very interesting technology that is going to be embedded into everything, from your ID to your geotagging to your ability to license your DNA for virtual medical trials and all sorts of clinical trials. You're going to be able to license what you browse on the internet. You're going to get paid for that, just like the basic attention token in Brave. Instead of Google making all the money from ads and Facebook making all the money from ads, you're actually going to get compensated from that. And the funny part is when you look at it, it's like, it's $5, it's $10, and people are like, oh, I don't really care. Yeah, but see, when you have 3 billion people at $5, $10, now we're talking about
everybody
some money.
Gets to benefit a little bit of that pie.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Wonderful. So Natalia, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and all the great things that you're doing as well in your area?
Yeah, so for me, coming from everything that kind of happened into my life, it's very important to have an impact in the world. And one of the things that I'm very passionate about is impacting women, because like I've been about 10 years in mining industry. There's no women there. Right now, crypto, you have primarily men. And, like I did several interviews with very powerful women of Web3. And the main question was like, well, it's intimidation. It's afraid that there's too much information and too much time to absorb it. Because obviously we all have, but women have other responsibilities, families, children, or, just running the household. Besides working. So, but it's kind of like when you break it into small segments, women has a unique ability to multitask and to be able to learn while they're cooking and doing it. So it's about taking steps and about to really allowing yourself to enter the new markets. And the projects, I'm invested in, they have to have an impact either for the future of the finance or borderless community. I'm also part of the Tokyo Innovation Labs when we utilize blockchain and Web3 to build meaningful and impactful solutions. Exactly like Adriana said, Web3 is here to stay, blockchain here to stay. And it's up to us, smaller group that we want to grow that group to get new people into the space, to get them introduced and to get them super excited about.
So Natalia, can you explain what Web3 is, again, in layman's terms? I don't know, that's kind of a new term. Not a lot of people have heard that term.
Sure. I mean, the most simple way to see, like Web 1, it was read. Web 2, it was read and write. Web 3 is really ownership. So right now we're going to the future of Web 3 is not, like 2-3 mega companies owning your data or controlling it. It's about us controlling and having access to our data. To having your own ID that will be attached to it, that you have a power and control to manage who has access to it, who can market it to it, and basically just owning your data.
Right, that's great. That's great explanation. And I know a lot of us here would like to control our own data and our own property, right? Yeah. So I think this is a wonderful explanation. Thank you. Sarah, you're next. I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Sorry. Thanks, Cynthia. Thanks, Dad. And it's great to be here with Natalia and Adrian. They've actually both been speakers. Adrian's been our MC at Coin Agenda, so I know them both pretty well. And this is the first time I'm actually getting to speak with them. So it's nice to all be here. And yeah, I would say my background, I've done a lot of things, but community and wellness have sort of been the core of it. In 2014, I was living in Austin. My dad asked me if I wanted to go to the Texas Bitcoin conference with him. I said, sure. I had been hearing the word Bitcoin in our household for about a year and a half leading up to that. And I really didn't know what to expect. And we were at the F1 racetrack for the conference. And I remember sitting there just asking him, like, what does this mean? What does that mean? Everything was so foreign. And they're talking about, all of these things that I had no idea. And he just said, just keep listening, make a list of questions in your phone. And that was when I first bought my first Bitcoin, sitting there in that room at the Texas Bitcoin conference. And I remember saying to my dad, like, it's like $870. And he was like, get in now or get in later, And so that was my first Bitcoin and my first experience in the industry. And then fast forward to last year where I started actually working in the space. And since I've been in the space for almost a year and a half working and just getting to, I get to hear about projects every day. I was on a call today with a company that's launching a new project for trusts and passing down generational wealth to basically secure money. Because right now, if I were to give somebody like a Bitcoin in a wallet, there's no protection on when they can cash it out. And so there's so many projects happening, like Adrian talked about. It's infiltrating every industry. And I feel like I really get to see the front edge of that, being part of BitAngels and Satoshi Salon. Those are two of our investor networks. We just launched a new chapter last week in Hollywood. We had 8 startups pitch. And the goal is really to bridge the gap between investors and startups to expand the industry of Web3 and blockchain. So I think that with my background in wellness, one of the conversations that really is not touched upon so much in that field is financials. And especially, I think, for women, talking about financials and financial well-being and being financially independent is really, really important. And so for me, like working in this space now, it's, yes, I do a lot with building community and creating experiences for people, but in the core, there's also a strong piece of me that knows that for us to grow and for us to create independence and to continue to like be strong, empowered women, finances are something that have to be part of the conversation. So thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So Sarah, you talked about a wallet, and so it's different in that space than it is in what we typically know as a physical wallet. Oh, Adrienne, she didn't let me finish asking the question. You need to unmute yourself, Miss Adrienne.
No, I was saying go ahead, but you said wallet, and I went wait.
Okay. You don't want me to say something about wallets?
No. Yeah, go ahead.
Lara,
I just don't
Sarah
want them to do
wallet,
anything with it.
I know there's a difference, and I think it needs to be explained. So that's why I was going to ask her to share a little bit what it means to have a wallet when you're in cryptocurrency versus our traditional physical wallet that we have.
So the digital wallet is where your crypto is held, and there's a lot of different wallets that you can have. And like Adrienne touched upon, how our digital identity will soon be on blockchain in this technology. At some point, there's actually a great book I'm going to recommend by Kyle Kemper. He's somebody that's been very early in the space, and he wrote a book called My Unified Wallet. I believe that's what it's called. And it's a very simple read. It's pretty thin, very friendly for somebody that's new in the space, but he really talks about this idea how everything's in a wallet. And right now we have this one wallet where we have all of our credit cards, our ID, we have everything in that one space. Right now with crypto, we have all of these different wallets holding different tokens, and we don't necessarily have an identity wallet, but at some point we're eventually going to have a wallet that is able to store all of that. If you think about when you go to a bar right now, or go somewhere that's 21 and up, they ask you for your ID. You give them your ID, which has not just your birthday, it also has your address. It has, if you're an organ donor, it has way more information that this bouncer at the bar needs to know about you. You don't know this person. They're not accredited to have any trust to know your address, but we give it to them because that's what society's told us we have to do. That's the social standard. At some point, as we have these digital wallets, it's going to automate like what information needs to be viewable to the person receiving it. So going into a bar, it would be your birthday. That's the only thing they need to know. And so, as part of this conversation has touched upon owning our data and owning our digital identity, privacy is a huge part of this conversation. And I'm sure you guys know this, but everything you do online is being tracked. None of that is private. Mm-hmm. So I recommend using DuckDuckGo as your browser. Keeps everything private, but there's a lot more to that conversation. But anyways, that's the gist. And I know I went off a little bit, but
no, it was perfect. It's a perfect example because literally they don't even need to know your birthday. Over or under 21, even less information than your birthday. Like we give away so much data and so much information all of the time. And one of the things that we DGens, OGs in the blockchain space need to tell all of what I call civilians, all the new people, we're looking out for you. However, don't think you're only going to ever have one wallet. There's multiple blockchains. There's multiple wallets. There's some wallets where you can only hold certain cryptocurrencies because the other wallets won't hold it. You're going to have many, 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 many wallets. It's going to be very confusing. If you pull up Instagram and you go to my Instagram, ADRYENN, and you DM me the word wallet, you will get my crypto wallet security worksheet so you will not lose your keys because I lost my keys for 48 hours. That's where all the gray hair came from. 48 hours, I lost all of my company's tokens because I could not get into my MetaMask. Do not let that ever happen to you. I've also lost 2,500 Bitcoin because I didn't know you were supposed to write down 2 keys. You can cry for it, it's okay.
You're being warned.
Yes, it's the rite of passage. It is a rite of passage, right? I've now failed forward to the next level of success. That's how it works.
Great, thank you for that. So, it's kind of scary. This is, it's been out there for a long time, but people are talking more and more about it. Sometimes it's scary to let go of your money because you don't know if it's a scam or somebody's trying to steal every last penny that you've worked so hard to earn. So can you tell us, and I'm going to start with Natalia, can you tell us, what do we need to be aware of when we're starting to look into these different opportunities?
First of all, always beware of scammers. There's a lot of people who are going to try to scam you. And exactly like Adriana said, that when you create your own wallet, make sure you not do the screenshot, not put them on your phone. Take a piece of paper with a piece of pen, write it down, and put it in your safe, put it somewhere. I mean, I keep majority of my stuff in a cold wallet, and honestly, sometimes, like when you first start, you have a tiny USB that has basically, whatever, like a pretty significant amount of money on it. So, I mean, it is kind of scary in the beginning, but that you should keep it in your safety deposit box or somewhere safe so you don't lose it, so nobody have access to it. Never keep them together, never put them obviously in the same safety deposit box, so in case something else happens. So just that's from the wallet perspective. But also from educational perspective, there's beautiful, like for me, I started just taking courses on Coursera. You just put your headset in while you're doing something and you listen to, there's plenty of information on DeFi, on crypto. There's so much information on YouTube. You can, ask one of us who is legitimate person to listen to in the space. We're obviously here to help you. But educate yourself, and educate yourself. And don't just trust the strangers, verify.
That's great information and great advice. So
I really want to follow up on that.
Okay.
It's great. It's absolutely great. Here's some hardcore tactics you do right now. Every time somebody tells you to get a token, you literally make sure you have the Brave browser installed on your laptop and your phone. Mm-hmm. And whatever they send you to, if it has a FOMO countdown timer, basically trying to overcome your need to do due diligence to get you to do it quickly because fear of missing out. You open that same link in that Brave browser with Tor, it'll wipe out all cookies and it'll re-show it. If that FOMO counter resets, it's automatically a scam. That is your 2-second fast check. And then the other piece of it is, who are you as an investor? I do this little mindset thing, right? Close your eyes. You picture yourself in Vegas. You've been there all weekend with your besties or your man.
Wait, hold, stop. Everybody needs to close their eyes. I don't think they're closing their eyes.
Close your eyes. Imagine the most amazing weekend in Vegas. You have great dinner, great pool time. You got a tan, not a sunburn. You didn't gain an ounce and you ate the entire time. You just had the best time, right? Like a fantasy weekend. And you've packed, you've called the Uber, you're on your way to the Uber, you passed the craps table, but your Uber's on the way. One last bet, win or lose, how much do you put down? Where you're not going to be salty, you're not going to regret it. What's that number for you?
Okay, don't answer that question yet. How much would y'all put out there?
The whole
last bet before you leave Vegas. How much would y'all put out there? $50, 100, 200. That's top right now.
Okay, so y'all are my people. Y'all are my people.
That's what she said. Yay!
Okay, I'm $20. My girlfriend goes 10,000, and I about lost my. Whatever that number is for you, that's what we call Vegas money. That is what you get to play with. That's what you get to educate yourself with. That's what there's step 2, which is you go to crypto.com because they have a nice little interface. So all those little coins that you've been seeing, buy a few, $1 here, $5 here, doesn't matter how much. The whole point is to get a bunch. And then how do you feel when the entire page is bloody? Because it's volatile. Crypto is volatile. How do you feel when you took $20, it went up to $500, and then all of a sudden it's back down to 40? Do you feel like you still doubled your money, or do you feel like you just suffered a loss? How do you react to market volatility? These are things you need to know before you start to really invest. And these are all things you can easily learn about yourself. So those are my tips.
That's
great tips, yeah.
And scamming. If it's a multi-level marketing product, 99% of the time, it's a scam in crypto.
Yeah.
If it promises you daily returns, it is more than likely a scam. When they tell you that they have an algorithmic trading bot that's going to make you a billionaire, trust me, the only people who have algorithmic trading bots, and yes, they do exist, and I know them, and I've met the people who programmed them, they're not sharing. So the ones that actually work, they're not sharing it to the decentralized masses so that everybody can get rich. No, they're actually funneling all of your money, and then they're going to shut it down, and they're going to rug pull like crypto over the counter did, and took $7 billion in people's money, and then turned around and spun it back up into world over the counter. So seriously, don't fall for anything like that.
One thing to add to it quickly, because like if you are looking to NFTs, there's a lot of companies, and they're legitimate companies that are doing NFT drops or like some crypto drops. So you always should have a very separate wallet that does not have any of your personal money in it, that you can actually give address to for this drop, because some of them actually might make you some money. Because if you sell something, then you actually put a volatility that somebody can put something in a smart contract and take whatever your money and have in your wallet. So you have to be very careful. So never give your wallet with your own assets to any drops.
Okay, we got one more minute. Sarah, I know you had something to say.
Yes, I was going to say that there's two ways to invest in blockchain and Web3. And that would be, with tokens like Adrian's talking about. And then there's equity investment, which would be investing in companies. I'd be happy to chat with anybody that's looking to be an investor in projects. That's what we do at Layer 1 Events with our conference Coin Agenda and our two investor networks, Bit Angels and Satoshi Salon. And if you're looking to be an equity investor in a project, the three biggest things that you want to look for would be what I like to say the 3 Ps. So the project, actually looking at the project, does it have utility? Is it going to advance the industry? The profit, what do the tokenomics look like? What is the projected revenue for the company? And then the people, making sure that you have some knowing of the people, not necessarily that they have to have done something in the past, but a lot of founders in this space have been in the space and done other projects.
Welcome to the Cryptolova Show with your host, Natalia Sokolova.